I'm going live on YouTube right now. I changed it from Twitch to YouTube. Just Twitch is just kind of fucking stupid, to be honest. And Twitch is mostly about, gaming and shit. And it's like, obviously we're not gaming.
Line up. Why was I on? I don't mind this, but it's like it's just not good enough. I want to figure out exactly what I had last time.
It's just not good enough. It's not good enough. Just be better.
RotoWire MLB maybe. No, let's see. Lineups. Depth charts. RotoWire is always the best.
Is it?
Yes.
Yes. Is that the one?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the same exact one I had last time, but like you can go. Let's see. I can go Chicago White Sox. It's at least it's not that good. It's not what I was using. Fucking annoying. What was I using? It doesn't have like their rotations. I guess I'll just have to make it work.
Hello, everyone. As you may or may
Let's see lineups. Dude, I don't know. I don't know where it was, but that sucks. Blue Jays. I just wish I could find that. Oh my god, it's on.
I hate that when you're like so close. You're like, oh fuck.
This is it. I found it. It was on it's ESPN, but whatever view I clicked on ESPN before, it didn't show it like this. Let's see. So I need White Sox. Depth chart. Yeah, if you go to ESPN, the depth charts are much better.
Really?
I like it better. Who else do I need? Twins. White Sox, Guardians, Tigers, Twins, and who else is it? The Royals.
I just sent out a tweet, by the way. It said, MLB reaches a deal in the next 6 hours. We'll give one person who retweets this a 15-minute segment on our show and $50. Must be following us. right? I mean, come on, worth a shot. It's a win-win.
Yeah. See what happens.
All right, we ready to go or what?
Yeah, let's see. Got the Royals are all strapped. Pull up my notes.
I don't know why the fuck my camera keeps fucking out, just not focusing. Happened during the interview with Kent too. I was like, what the fuck, dude? I'm sitting here going like this with my hand to get it like focused, and he thinks I'm like raising my hand like if it's a fucking question.
Okay. All right. Let's say I'm probably just about ready to go.
Hopefully the phone rings here soon. I don't know. I'm in Warzone with some of my buddies back home.
All right, ready? Sorry, is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Okay. Hold on a sec. Yeah, and like I said here, we don't have to go forever. It could just be 45 minutes, honestly. Fucking, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I should probably put my headphones in too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, make sure it's all lined up and doesn't start fucking shitting itself on you.
See. I think my settings should be pretty default.
Good to go. You're coming through clear.
I can hear you.
Okay, you just went to your headphones for your microphone though. So I don't know if you want to flip it back.
Let's see. Settings. Voice and video. Input. MacBook microphone.
Nice.
Is that better?
Sounds way better. Yep.
Now it's fucking doing this weird shit where your voice is coming through all scrambled. Lovely. Always something, huh?
That's how I was that's what I was saying. Make sure it's fucking
I'll probably just have to hang up. All right, let's see.
sounds like you're coming through a computer.
Yeah, we're good.
Now it's waiting for the camera here. I can't see you. I can hear you.
There we go.
Good to go?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I'm gonna pull up an article.
Okay. All right, we are back. Jared, it's good to be back for episode number 11 of the Phenomenal Fan Podcast. Here we are on this beautiful Monday, February 28th, not December. Wish it was December, Jared, because that would mean owners and the players were actually making progress and on a reasonable time scale. But no, that's not the case. It's February 28th. It's a Monday, and it's in the evening for us right now. And we are getting live updates as we record this podcast from all different reporters, guys on the ground in what appears to be, I guess they're meeting in Florida. I don't know. Between the players and the owners. They've been deliberating on and off today for about 11 hours. And our entire podcast, not an entire podcast, but both of us are huge baseball guys. So we are here to talk, all things baseball. It sounds like we're getting closer to a deal. This is a knock on wood situation, right? Knock on wood. Sounds like we're getting closer to a deal. But we'll get into it in this episode because we wanted to talk about what exactly is going down with this CBA, what these issues are that they're haggling over, because it is a bit confusing. Sometimes you don't really understand. It's billionaires versus millionaires, right? That's the main thing you hear a lot of these times. The owners have all the billions, the players getting paid a shit ton of money. But it's a lot more than that. And we'll get straight into that. And we'll also touch on the American League Central, talk about a little NBA, and wrap it up quickly because hopefully when we record again later this week, we'll be able to talk openly and freely about all the flurry of free agents that signed with all these teams and all these players reporting to all their facilities. And we'll be celebrating the return of baseball. But in the meantime, Jared, how are you feeling personally about all these reports? I'm sure you're seeing it on Twitter as much as everybody else. They've been deliberating for 11 hours today, on and off. Seems to be a growing sense of optimism that they plan on meeting throughout the entire night. And I don't know. I don't know what that means, but
it's obviously tough. You have all these players that are obviously tweeting out their kind of funny 2 cents about it, trying to make a light of the situation, but kind of sucks that they've pushed it back this far, obviously, that we're going to have to, if they don't get it done by tonight, we're going to have to delay the season, which is just very unfortunate for the brand, for all the fans. It's already looks ugly. Like nobody knows what's going on. And we're already about to go into kind of, we still got a little bit of time, but we're about to go into the dog days of sports in the next couple months. So if baseball's not around, it's going to be just like the damn 2020 season almost is what it's probably going to feel like this summer. And I don't think anybody wants that again. So
yeah,
hopefully they can kind of get past that and we have something to look forward to. Even though most people don't love the dog days of summer where it's just baseball on, it's better than, better than the alternative.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah, there was reports early on in this day from a couple different reporters that the first thing I saw, I think pretty much the first thing I saw, they're like, well, owners and players are going in, they're going to meet. Okay. But the first report I saw after that, I think it was from, there's this guy, Evan Drylich, is that his name? Evan Drellich from The Athletic. He's a senior writer, wrote about the Astros, but he's been on top of it. I mean, he has been covering every topic, every update. He's been all over it. And I'm scrolling back here to see if I can, I'll find this tweet. He's reporting early this morning about the players showing up on quote unquote deadline day. And then he sent this tweet, Jared, at 11:30 a.m. Mountain Time this morning on February 28th. And he said, the MLB today indicated a willingness to miss a month of games and took a more threatening tone than yesterday, sources briefed on the day's first meeting between the players and the MLB. Full context of that conversation is not known. But apparently, dude, that if that's the first update I saw, and other people saw this morning, I mean, dude, that tweet floated around. People were going, we're not going to play. We're not going to have opening day until the 4th of July. Like, my God. MLB is just cool with losing 100 or a month's worth of games. If they lose a month's worth of games, that means they're going to lose more than that. And then you see Bryce Harper's Instagram story today where he tags the Yomiuri Giants in Tokyo and photoshops a Tokyo Yomiuri Giants jersey on himself and says, "Hey guys, like I got some time to kill." Like, dude, seeing all those different updates and seeing everything like that unfold, Joey Gallo sends out a tweet saying, "I'm new here," and it's screenshots of his newly created LinkedIn page. Dude, what is going? Like, I'm seeing all these things unfold. I'm sure, Jared, everybody's reaction is similar, but like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm like, is the MLB about to like disband altogether? Like, are these players just going to leave the MLB, just go overseas? Am I going to see Fernando Tatis Jr. in Korea next year? Like, what is happening? I mean, it was so scary, I guess, or just like alarming. All this news happens, and then all of a sudden the tides have shifted and it seems like it's good. I just don't know what to make of all of it. Basically, it just seems very inconsistent, with what we've been seeing.
Yeah, well, I think that's something that's like to be talked about a little bit too, is like Bryce Harper and Joey Gallo. These guys are getting paid so much money, like
so much money.
that they're not every day that passes, they're not getting paid.
Correct.
So obviously they have plenty, but I actually feel bad for the players like that are getting like on like league minimum because I mean league minimum is still a lot of money, right? You're just talking about $500,000 a year, but
Yep.
it's like at the end of the day, if that's for like 1 or 2 years and you just spent 10, like 6 years in the minors making nothing, and like you weren't like a high signing bonus guy, it's not that much money because you have to really distribute that money out over the fact that you just made, sub $50,000 a year for your 6 years out of high school or college or whatever, just to have your chance. And then once you finally have the chance, you're not even going to have a season. So it's like those guys are like staring the fact that like baseball may not feasibly be a living for them anymore. And then and Joey Gallo and obviously Bryce Harper making fun of it, or they have a huge platform. They obviously are kind of advocating for wanting things to go back to normal and come back. But like I was reading that as a whole, the MLB players are going to lose about a combined $20.5 million per day.
Yep, per day.
Yeah. There's Max Scherzer.
Oh,
Max Scherzer's going to be losing $232,000 a day. It's like, fuck, man. And obviously he's got enough money, but like,
of course,
he's later in his career. He probably wants to capitalize that.
Capitalize. He wants to
take as much of that home as possible.
Of course.
They're saying that even the league minimum guys are losing between like 3,500 and like 4,100 or something a day.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's obviously very problematic for the players as a living. It's problematic just for the brand, and it's really just an unfortunate thing that's happening. And I'm just hoping that they all kind of come to a conclusion this evening and we get some good news first thing in the morning, or even a late tweet. So
something tonight. I think the thing that's most frustrating about this whole situation is that it's now February 28th. You and I are sitting here recording, right? It's in the evening, whatever. And you're seeing tweets coming out from these guys, these reporters are saying they're going back and forth. The Rob Manfred's walking back and forth. The owners and the players are dealing offers back and forth with a willingness to work late into the evening. And the same kind of thoughts came into my head earlier, like a week ago today, when the MLB said, we're going to meet every day this week. Here's a fucking idea. A week after the World Series is over, or the lockout is put in, how about you meet every day until midnight? And then this thing would have been handled on November 31st or whatever, like December 5th. The thing would have been smushed. It would have been, we wouldn't even be sweating it. We'd be, guys would be in great shape. No one's going to get injured this year. Now all of a sudden, there's a deadline, February 28th at midnight. Otherwise we're going to cancel games. And today is the day where they're like, we'll work late into the evening. Of course, right? We want to play baseball. It's like, that's such bullshit, man. It's all just such an optics thing where they want to make it seem like they're like working really hard when they're just not. And they both took 2 full fucking months off. And yes, that's on the owners, I think, more than the players, but it's bullshit. And on the topic of what exactly they're fucking haggling over, right? Because it's hard to believe that these two groups of people are just supposedly so far apart on these topics when they were just playing baseball and just came to an agreement less than 5 years ago, or whatever it was, 6 years ago. And now they're just so far apart on all these different topics. It's just hard to believe. But there's a few topics that we wanted to cover just to kind of educate our listeners almost more than anything. But one of the topics, or one of the big arguing points, was revenue sharing. And revenue sharing, basically, to describe it as fundamentally as possible, obviously every team generates revenue, and obviously they have to distribute that revenue to pay their employees. And their employees include the players, the minor league guys, obviously team employees and stuff like that. The players at the time, for the previous collective bargaining agreement, they were getting, I think it was like 25% revenue share. And now they want to get 30% revenue share, or even a higher number than that. And that doesn't seem like that big of a gap. 5%, that's not that much expansion in revenue share, but 5% for a company or an organization that's pulling in billions of dollars. If you took 5% of the New York Yankees revenue every year, Jared, like you're an employee and you're like, I'm at 25% and they're going to raise you to 30% of the Yankees annual revenue. I mean, that is a tens of millions of dollars, probably hundreds of millions. I mean, it's crazy. So the sides were pretty far apart on the revenue sharing, and understandably, because the owners want to keep the money, the players want to make more money. And a lot of this stuff basically boils down to the players wanting to make more money, which is understandable because the owners make so much fucking money and they don't evenly really distribute it to the players, if we're being fair. And yes, the players make a shit ton of money also, but not as much as the owners just make so much fucking money off these teams. It's ridiculous how much money they make. Nevertheless, the next topic they continue to haggle over is the competitive balance tax, which is essentially baseball's version of the salary cap. It's the threshold of money that teams are allowed to spend without getting excessively taxed by Major League Baseball. They can spend over that, but I think the collective balance tax is like $214 million right now, and if you spend over that, then you get taxed by the league really heavily, like 60% tax rate or something if you spend over it, whatever. The players want that collective or that competitive balance tax to go higher so that the team basically raises their salary cap and pays the players more money, which is understandable, again, because the owners are like, $214 million. I can't afford to pay these guys. Like, Hal Steinbrenner, you're bringing in $9 billion a year. Like, you can afford, and then the counteroffers you're seeing from the MLB owners is like, okay, you know what? We will raise the competitive balance tax. It's at 214. We can do 220. How about 220 million? It's like, no, like, how about 250 million? So you can have superstars all on the same team and, have a team that, like the Houston Astros 4 years ago or 5 years ago has 4 or 5 guys that are going to end up being $300 million guys. And instead of having to choose one or choose two, they can have 3 or 4 of them, or all 5 if they want to, really work out the numbers properly. So again, competitive balance tax is raising it so that the players make more money. Now, Jared, it makes sense to raise that competitive balance tax, but on the same token, I think the one thing that I would be worried about in that sense is that, at least for me, I'm seeing that if they raised essentially the salary cap, all that would do for me as a Padres fan is it looks like they're just allowing the Dodgers to just spend more money and be even better. Because if you raise the salary cap, that does nothing for the Kansas City Royals. It does nothing.
Yeah,
because they're not going to
do a lot for like the ownership choices by teams. Like there's just some teams out there that aren't willing to
spend money.
Win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Oakland A's aren't going to spend that much money.
Yeah. No, there's no shot.
So yeah, I mean, I can see why the players want it, but it's just frustrating. I mean, it's just weird. I don't know. I know there's small market teams, and I think it's more on the owners. Like you said, the owners are like, we're not going to spend, like the owner of the Oakland A's is like, we're just not going to spend $214 million a year. We're just not going to do it, which is crazy, because I think what's even crazier, Jared, is if you, I'm sure you know this, obviously, and a lot of our listeners know this as baseball fans too, but if the Tampa Bay Rays spent just $150 million a year on their team, I mean, would they win like 130 games a year? I mean, like, honestly, because they win 95 a year and they pay their team like $45 million. I mean, it's ridiculous. I think they'd win 140 games a year. I mean, literally, they would lose 20 games a year. Like, if they were paying their team just double or triple what they pay them now, I mean, and they already win. I mean, let's just do the math, right? The math should line up properly. So if they win 90 games and they're paying their team $50 million a year, if they paid their team $100 million a year, they would win 180 games, right? They would just double their wins because no, but you get my point. I think these teams need to pay them more. And I mean, I don't know, man. I don't make the rules, but it's an interesting talking point. And then it also leads into, again, another point that the players are trying to get, which is raising the league minimum. And you just mentioned the league minimum a little bit earlier, 500, and I think the official number it's 550,000 and $570,500. That's the league minimum, $570,500. The most recent proposal I just saw from Bob Nightingale here was to raise it to $700,000 a year. That's a big jump. It doesn't seem like that's a lot, but that's what is that, like a 25%, 20% raise in the league minimum? Like, that's a big jump, you know? So that's hard.
It's a big jump. Like, I would be interested to see how many MLB players
what, make league minimum?
Make league minimum.
I'd imagine
because it's probably a bigger chunk than you'd think, because there's probably quite a few like bullpen guys and shit that just don't.
How many MLB players make league minimum? Let's see. I'm looking at some articles here that say it's also a lot of these proposals, by the way, just for those of you guys that are listening, it's not necessarily jumping straight up to 700,000, but what it would do is it would raise it to like 600,000. That would be a first year guy would make, instead of 570,000, his first year he'd make 600, but then his next year he'd make 650. Then the year after that he'd make 700. So it's an incremental raises and stuff like that. But let's see, it's a 7% increase, 30% increase. There's all kinds of stuff. I'm not seeing anything here that's showing the exact number of players that are making it. Either. Yeah, so it's hard to tell like how many guys that would affect. But looking at a lot of rosters, man, I mean, it's probably 30 or 25 or 30% of big league, at least big league rosters. It's probably that number, maybe a little bit smaller of a number on the more competitive teams, right? The New York Yankees probably don't have a ton of guys making league minimum. But like I mentioned before, the Kansas City Royals on a 25-man roster, 26-man roster, they probably have 14, 15 guys making league minimum. So that would be a huge jump for all those guys. For the, the Adalberto Mondeses and the fucking, Brad Kellers of the world, like those guys jumping from 550 to 700,000, that's a huge jump for those guys. So it's an interesting talking point. And I also think I think they should do it. I mean, it was like 2 years ago when Pete Alonso, he won the home run derby, and they incentivized the home run derby and said the winner of the home run derby gets $1 million prize. And Pete Alonso won the home run derby, and then he was interviewed afterwards, and he's like, yeah, I just I tripled my annual salary, because he was making $550,000 and he got paid $1 million for winning the home run derby. And so he made more on that one night than he made double more, that night than he did the entire season. So that's definitely something you need to fix. Because if there's a guy like Pete Alonso who comes up as a rookie and hits 50 home runs his rookie year, he just cannot make league minimum the year after that. He just can't do it. I mean, it's like, dude, you can't pay a guy who hits 50 home runs $550,000 a year. That's too low. Just not enough money. Like, he's earned more than that for sure. You know what I mean? But
yeah, no, 100%. That's tough, and I feel like the MLB's always kind of been structured to try to give. To protect the owners from having to pay out too early, and obviously they want to secure talent when they can, so a guy like Fernando Tatis didn't have to really wait, but a lot of times I feel like they do try to wait. They do try to wait to pay these guys
until they absolutely have to pay them, like arbitration, like fourth year stuff. Yeah. So league minimum, haggling point for them. The next haggling point that they've really been stuck on for a while is the service time situation. The service time situation for me is hard, because I agree with the players in that, and Kent touched on it when we interviewed him about how these teams just have too much control over these players. These players don't have the freedom to explore the free market. If you get called, let's say you get drafted, you're in the big leagues the next year, just hypothetically, you're a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
in the old agreement, you had 3 years where you were making the league minimum salary, and then the 4th year of your contract, you went into arbitration and either agreed upon a number with the team or an arbiter settled it at a number. And that went on for your 4th, 5th, and 6th year. And then by your 7th season is when you were eligible for free agency. Not only is that 6 full years of control for a team, but somehow, some way, worked into the old collective bargaining agreement, the owners managed to sneak this clause into it where if a player is held down in the minor leagues for greater than 14 days and then is called up on the 15th day of the season, it doesn't count as a full year of service time for that player. So they would, the example that's commonly used and probably referenced in these debates, in these back and forth conversations between the players and the owners, is the whole Chris Bryant situation where the Cubs are like, oh my God, he's a superstar. The guy hit 40 home runs last year in AAA. No shit, he's ready for the big leagues. And then opening day comes around and he's not on the roster. And you're like, where is he? He's obviously our best option at third base. He's obviously ready for the major leagues. Where the fuck is Chris Bryant? Sure as shit, 14 days go by, and on that 15th day, breaking news, Chicago Cubs call up third baseman Chris Bryant from the Reno Aces or whatever, the AAA affiliate. And not only is he called up on that 15th day, but he's called up and he's hitting second and playing third base. Like, my God, like how much more obvious can you be? And that's super frustrating for Chris Bryant because now Chris Bryant has to get called up. He has to play on the Cubs for that entire season. And then he gets to make league minimum salary for 3 more years after that. Like, that is bullshit. That is 100% a bullshit. And I don't know how that ever came into effect or even got signed on by the players. But here's my only thing, Jared, and this is all that I'm going to say. I'm on the side of the players. But the fact that got worked into the CBA, that's on the players. That is the players' fault. Like, they didn't do their due diligence. The owners worked it in, tossed it into as a little clause, I'm sure, somewhere amongst their talks, and the players either missed it or skimmed over it or signed on because they were impatient. I don't know the reason, but now it's kind of similar to the rest of these things they're haggling over. The players, this last CBA that they were playing under for 5 years, it was a dog shit CBA. Dog shit for the players. Horrible. In comparison to maybe the other leagues that have signed much better CBAs. So now the players want to make these drastic, huge changes and swings to favor the players in such a huge way. The owners are like, fuck that. You guys signed on for this service time thing, and you signed on for this league minimum, and you signed on for this revenue sharing and collective bargaining or this competitive balance tax. You guys signed and agreed to all this stuff 5 years ago. Like, you guys agreed to 25% revenue. It's been 5 years. What are we supposed to give you? 50%? Like, shut up. And I'm not siding with the owners. It's just that's where they're coming from. So the service time manipulation thing, I agree it's bullshit. I think it should be worked away, of course. But I don't blame the owners as much as I do the players in that situation because they fucked themselves in that.
Yeah, but you gotta think too that it's probably like there was absolutely push and pull probably with the last one. You know what I mean? So these because these players all have attorneys that are working for them. It's not just a group of players necessarily.
Correct.
It's just sitting around,
just
sitting around being like,
Max
what do we
Scherzer
do?
and Garrett Cole.
What-
Come on, guys,
Yeah,
let's get it done.
These guys with like an average cumulative of like a half semester of college like throughout the league.
Yeah.
They're all a bunch of high school
Or
guys.
just Dominican guys.
And Dominican.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure it's not them that are
No,
doing
I get
most
it.
of the
I get it.
obviously, but yeah, no, it's I don't know. It's obviously just kind of a weird situation, and like I guess it's really tough for the majority of people to possibly understand
Correct.
from like the ownership point of view.
Correct.
Because like none of us know shit about like what actual revenue they're pulling in, where all the revenue, like obviously you can look it up, but you don't necessarily know how that revenue is split up and who's taking that money home. Obviously the owners are, but there's a ton of expenses that they're covering, for the team. It's like not like the players are buying their plane tickets or hotel rooms and just like that's just small examples of things that like you're talking about just the every general operation that a player doesn't have to deal with, the ownership deals with. So like
Correct.
you can kind of see where like they start things off and they probably say, "Hey, fuck you guys. We're giving you an opportunity to make money, a shitload of money."
Right.
Even your smallest league minimum, like you guys are we're giving you guys over $500,000, which is going to put you in the top 1% in the US. Easy.
The top 100th of 1%. I mean, that's like insane to play baseball. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Like I think what is it? Let's see. Let's see what the 1% in America is.
I bet you it's six figures. I bet you it's like 150,000 or 200,000.
I want to say it's like 400,000.
Really? Maybe it is. I don't know.
Top.
I mean, it's also like you said, it's also relative though because it's
584,000.
That's what they make.
Top 1%.
That's what they make.
And that's yeah. So that's
what they make.
It's literally putting them right there.
It's putting them in the top 1%.
Saying you're in the top of 1%
to be 22 years old, 23 years old in the major and to play baseball. By the way, you're not mining for coal. Like you're fucking playing baseball. So
you can definitely see both sides. If you can't see both sides, then you're fucking biased.
Correct.
You have to be able to understand the other sides. But like,
I agree.
I do stand for the players, like obviously because
they're the players. You love them.
You love the players. They're the ones putting on the show. And at the end of the day, these guys had to make it up and fight through a lot more odds which is far less guaranteed than what the owners are making. Right. So owners they've probably owned the team for God knows how long. They're going to own the team for far longer than that player's career is over.
Of course.
So like these guys are putting a lot more risk into to try to make a great livelihood for themselves, obviously. So on that side, I like obviously you could, side with the players there. Just like
it's hard to see, and then the last thing that's sort of, I feel like it's kind of counterintuitive for the owners is the owners are talking kind of playing poor in a lot of these situations, right? They're always bargaining these prices and these salaries and revenue shares down. They're bargaining all this stuff down from where the players want these numbers to be. And then all of a sudden the owners comes to the Players Association and is like, this last topic that we wanted to talk about with their haggling is the owners come to the players and they're like, well, we don't have any money. We can't afford to share revenue with you guys or raise our competitive balance tax or raise a league minimum. But how do you feel about 14 teams in the playoffs? It's like the players and everybody knows right away that has nothing to do with, we want more teams to get more opportunities. No, it's nothing to do with there is nobody's feelings or anything involved other than more money for the owners. More money, more playoff games, more TV deals, more ad revenue, more ticket sales, more concession. Like it's all just more money, more money, more money. So if they're going to propose a 14 team postseason, which we can touch on here in a second, Jared, they can't be coming back on the other side and be like, let's do 14 teams in the playoffs. But I can give you 600,000 league minimum. Like, okay, let's do 14 and then let's raise the league minimum to 750. And then let's raise the competitive balance tax to, 240 million from 215. Let's share revenue a little more. Let's not manipulate service time. And then these guys can all get a chance to play in the playoffs, make more money, have more financial security. And then we can have our 14 teams in the playoffs. But it sounds like the players don't want that many teams, which I understand. I think those guys also care. And this is the point we were going to get to. These players care about the integrity of the game to a certain extent. And everybody argues, it's one of my big knocks against the NBA is that they have 16, actually now it's 18, isn't it? Because of the new play-in tournament. I don't know if you count that as postseason or not, but the new play-in tournament brings in the 9 seed because it's the 6, 7, 8, 9 playing against each other. So there are 18 teams in the NBA, 18 teams playing games after the regular season is over. 18 out of 30 or 32. That is too many fucking teams involved. That is too many. And on top of that, as we all know, it's stupid to put an 8 seed, before even they expanded it to the play-in tournament, it's stupid to put an 8 seed into the postseason. Like, what is the 8 seed going to do against the Golden State Warriors? What are they going to do? Nothing. They are going to do nothing. And even if it just so happens to be the Lakers this year in the postseason, right? Because they're lined up to possibly be the 8 seed. Let's say the 8 seed and they go to the play-in tournament, whatever, and they're the 8 seed. And they play the Warriors in the first round. I'm sorry, they're going to get beaten like a fucking drum in 4 games. And not only, by the way, is it 8 seed versus 1 seed, but it's a 7-game series. I mean, that is absurd. So you start talking about 14 teams in the MLB, Jared, I hate it. I really, really hate it. I think baseball is one of the sports that's really held on to the elite status of making the postseason. I think expanding it to the 2 wildcard teams was a great idea because, there's been a lot of situations where 3 teams, it happened this year, 3 teams out of a division deserve to be in the postseason, and they do. You had Tampa Bay winning the American League East and the Red Sox and Yankees playing each other. And that's unfortunate, right, that they had to playing each other in the 1-game playoff. Maybe if I were a player, the one expansion that I would like to see, and I'll let you talk, Jared, but the one expansion I'd like to see is that wild card matchup be a 3-game series. And I think all 3 games should be at the higher seeded team's place, if that makes sense. Like the Red Sox hosted the Yankees this year in the American League wildcard game. Expand it to 3 games and have the Red Sox just host all 3 games. And so that way, if one guy, this opening starter for game 1 has a bad day and it's just, our season's over. Like, no, come on, give him a chance to at least, do something, because I think the 1 game in baseball especially is stupid, but keep it exactly how it is. Otherwise, it's just expanding 14 is a huge number, and that's too big in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't like the current wild card state. It definitely, I did see that one that proposal, right? And it was like, I forget exactly what it was. It was the higher. Somebody get a pick the team they play this year? That was like a proposal.
Yeah, dude, there was some crazy proposals. MLB Expanded Playoffs 2022. So this was on February 10th. Dude, I've seen some crazy proposals. Crazy proposals. I saw one where there was 7. The deal would include 25 weeks, blah, blah, blah. The reason for the expanded postseason is money. MLB obviously would make more money with the additional round of playoffs. I want this guy writing, Al Yellen is writing, if we had a 14-team postseason field, this is a great way to look at it here, Jared. If we had a 14-team postseason field in 2021, 7 teams from each league, we would have had the following teams added to the original 10 that did not make the playoffs. If we would have had 14 last year, the Reds and the Phillies would have made the postseason. The Phillies, Jared, would have made the postseason at 82-80. That would be their record, and they would make the postseason. And he says in this article, do either of these teams, the Reds were 83-79, 1 game better. And he said, do these teams look anything like postseason teams? Like, no, they just don't. And then in the American League, the Blue Jays and the Mariners would have made it. And that would have been cooler, right, to see the Blue Jays, I guess. But that's also putting 4 teams from the same division in the playoffs. 4 teams.
Yeah, that seems very excessive.
Extremely excessive. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different in the American League situation here because the Blue Jays went 91-71 and the Mariners went 90-72. That's a much more respectable number. Over 90 wins. You'll be competing for a spot, but the bottom line is, unless you're in a dog shit division, you need to win 94-97 games to win the division. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's just, that's baseball. So to expand it and reward teams like the Phillies, like how would the Phillies have done last year in the playoffs? Let's all be honest. Not good. Not fucking good.
Not judging by that bullpen. I mean, that bullpen was just getting lit last year.
I mean, my God, they would have just been horrible. So, yeah, I don't love the expanded playoffs. You know, people always say that, right? And then when they do end up expanding the playoffs in whatever fashion they choose, and in the most recent case, it was the wild card expansion. And initially, most people's reactions were, "Oh, that's bullshit. Only 4 teams from each league." And then it comes out, and a lot of people end up settling on it and going, you know, okay, I kind of like it. And that's everybody's argument for this thing is just let it happen, see how it is, and you're going to end up loving it. And maybe, right, maybe we'll love it, but probably not. I think it's too many fucking teams. Would it be cooler to see the Padres have a better chance to make the playoffs as a Padres fan? Sure. But I'm also not going to be super jazzed when the Padres make the playoffs as a 7 seed or a 6 seed and they have to play the Dodgers in the first round, or they have to play, you know, the Braves that's loaded, or for this case this year, like the Mets. Like, I want to be able to at least, I don't know, just have a more of an earned spot and have a little bit more confidence going into the season, or into the postseason, I should say. But anyways, that's the points they were haggling on: revenue share, competitive balance tax, league minimum, service time manipulation, and the expanded playoffs. There's a few more much smaller subjects that they've kind of already sort of agreed upon, or they weren't very far apart on. So that's where they're at. Again, we're getting live updates tonight as we record. Most recent tweets I'm seeing here from John Heyman: sides are still talking and the mood is improved, but players union source maintains they are still very far apart on certain key components. So you're hearing conflicting reports. We don't know if it's true. We don't know if it's not true. Trevor Plouffe, notable former player, John Boy Media guy, great dude. He said, you know, if a deal is imminent, I'm praying that there's only 12 teams in the playoffs and not 14. He said, let's not ruin the importance of regular season so we can get closer on the money. 12 teams is still a win for the owners. And I actually agree with that. I think that'd be a good number to settle at. It's 12 teams. That's a lot of teams, but it still gives, you know, an opportunity for some teams that were right on the cusp to get in, while also not letting in complete shit can teams. So hopefully we can reach an agreement. Who knows? Who fucking knows? In the meantime,
I would just love to be watching some sports in May.
Well, and also, Jared, and it's a transition to our next subject of the division predictions we're going to be doing. It would be making our division predictions much easier than what they are right now, because we can make these division predictions right now, and in a normal time, in a normal season where there's no lockout, we would know where everybody was. Everyone would be signed. Players will have been reported. Pitchers and catchers will be, like, they had already played their first spring training games. We probably would have seen a few at-bats from newly signed free agents. We would have seen an at-bat from, Starling Marte on the Mets, or we would have seen that bat from Freddie Freeman on wherever he signs, the Dodgers, most likely. But we would have seen that bat, so we would have been able to predict and be like, okay, these guys are good, these guys are bad. We have these rosters set. You have a pretty good idea of where these guys are going to be. In this case, today, we're going to be predicting the American League Central. It's much harder, like I said, because we don't know exactly how these rosters are going to look. But I will say, the American League Central is maybe one of those divisions where it seems to be pretty much one team's to lose. And there's a few other teams.
I think absolutely.
There's a few other teams that are on the rise or possibly going to be putting together maybe better seasons than they have in the recent past. But there's one team in the American League Central that should run away with it like they did last year. And they may get better. They may end up signing more guys and getting better. But we'll dive into the American League Central, and we'll start with, I believe it is, no. Let's see. Alphabetically based on location, it's got to be Chicago White Sox, correct? Because you have Cleveland, you have Detroit, Kansas City, and Minnesota. So coincidentally, that's the exact order that they finished in last year: Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City, and Minnesota. But we'll start with the White Sox because we're going alphabetical. And it's the funnest team to talk about in this division, obviously.
It's by far
Jared,
the most.
You take over. Yeah, you take over that situation. Just give me a rundown of what you think about this Chicago White Sox team, because I'll tell our listeners really quickly. Jared absolutely fucking loves the Chicago White Sox. Loves this team. Loves them.
I hard transitioned. I had to dude. I've never fucking done that in my entire life from a home team. But when the Rockies got rid of Arenado this last year, I go, why? I go, why the fuck? It wasn't even this last year. It was actually kind of the COVID year.
COVID, yeah.
It was the COVID year. I got like, I started watching them. I was like, I like this team. You know why? Because they hadn't done shit in fucking a decade, really.
Correct.
You know, they hadn't really done anything. It wasn't like too bandwagony. You had guys that nobody knows of yet. Still, like I bet you could ask like a C-level baseball fan if he knows who Luis Robert is, and he probably doesn't. And I'm telling you right now, if Luis Robert continues to like progress, this guy, I'm telling you, this guy could potentially win an MVP in his career.
I believe
you're talking about a guy that could steal. He could easily steal 30 to 40 bags if
he's a freak.
If he gets on base more. You know, and he's not like he's hitting at a bad clip. I think you could probably. I think he actually was banged up a little bit last year. But then you got guys like Eloy Jimenez, which obviously like is you know, becoming a little bit more well-known, especially after he hit some tanks in the dude, he had a freak year last year.
Yeah, let's hear his stats.
But he was banged up, so he didn't have a lot. But
yeah,
like
he was banged. He came back. He was hurt for most of the year. No, didn't he? Like dislocate his hip or something?
Something in his hip or groin.
Yeah.
But anyway, he in 68 games played, he had 275 at bats. He hit 338 with 13 home runs and 43 RBIs.
Yeah, that's a joke.
So 338. So he's getting, you know, he's getting on base more than I actually thought he was. I mean, I watched him like slump a little bit, which is probably like times where he was just striking out and swinging at bad pitches. But like that's like a lot of those young like foreign guys. That's what they seem to do. You know, he's a Cuban guy, but I don't know how many I wonder how many bags he's still too. That's one last thing I want to look up, and then we'll move on.
No, go for it.
And also, Luis.
Run through their rotation too while you're at it. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. There's a guy that they just signed. I'm
trying to figure out how many stolen bases Luis Robert had last year. I'm on Baseball Reference real quick. He only stole 6, but then once again he was a little bit banged up. I think it's a guy. He's got so much damn speed. He was second in Rookie of the Year. He won a Golden Glove as a rookie. He's got a cannon of an arm. He's fast as shit. Like people probably don't know about him that much yet, but they will because he is a freak. Let me go back to their roster real quick. So then you got Eloy Jimenez. Obviously crushes the ball. Tim Anderson is seems like he might be the most underrated shortstop. I bet you there's so many people out there right now that you could probably ask, hey, are you you could probably ask so many people in MLB right now, who's the better shortstop? And you could ask people, is it Tim Anderson or Javi Baez?
Ooh.
And people would probably still say Javi Baez right now.
I like that.
I don't think so. I don't think it's fucking
I think
close.
Tim Anderson is a monster, dude. He's really good.
Tim Anderson's but that's what I'm saying is he doesn't get like a ton of hype. I mean, this last year, once again, Field of Dreams game, everyone wanted to watch it. He hits a freaking walk-off home run
that was sick.
Off of a guy that throws sinkers. So, you know, ridiculous.
Turbo
That's Manny
sinkers.
Grandal, another guy that got banged up. Switch hitting catcher, absolutely crushes the ball.
Beast.
Jose Abreu,
monster.
COVID year MVP, like just a ridiculous hitter all around. You have these other, and then you have the guys behind him. So you have Larry Garcia. Decent. I don't think he's gonna. They have Andrew Vaughn and behind him, and they have Danny Mendick. I actually kind of liked who was that little Oregon State guy they had?
Madrigal. They traded him.
Madrigal. They traded him away, which
for Kimbrel.
Was in the Kimbrel trade.
Yep.
Which fucking sucked for them because Kimbrel came in and sucked for the White Sox.
Yes, he did
last year. But
yes,
Yamamoto, another switch hitter, unbelievable. This Gavin Sheets guy.
Dude,
I don't know if
backup catcher.
If he still has his. Yeah, he's actually they have him at right field. Oh, they have Andrew Vaughn in the DH here. But it's like you have Adam Engel's not even supposed to be starting on this team, I guess. But like if you have Andrew Vaughn, this says that they have him available to play second. It's like I wouldn't mind shifting this one around to get Larry Garcia out of there and get like Adam Engel or Andrew Vaughn in there because those guys
agree.
got pop. Gavin Sheets is ridiculous, can crush the ball. So then you go to the rotation. You got Giolito. You got Lance Lynn is your number one. He had a side. Did he win this? No, he win the second last year?
No, but he was. I think he might have been a
top
finalist.
three.
Yeah, he might have been a finalist.
Yeah, he was like a top 3. Yeah, you got Giolito. No hitter a couple years ago, only getting better and better. And then this guy right here is the guy you're talking about, Dylan Cease.
Oh, I love Dylan Cease.
No, he's not the new guy. He's not new.
What?
He was
Who are you
with them last year, but
No,
he
the
throws
guy
he throws 98.
the guy I saw on here wasn't a starter. They just apparently they had signed him, but they signed Kendall Graveman.
Kendall Graveman.
Dude,
Yeah,
Kendall
who
Graveman
was
was throwing fucking wiffle balls last year. Wiffle balls.
He's got that 90. He was with the Mariners, then he got traded to the Astros, correct?
Correct.
And he threw there's like a 99 mile per hour sinker,
Turbo sinker, turbo cutter, turbo slider. I don't know why he just became that guy, because he was like a starter on like the A's for like the first like 3 years of his career, and then he just like
it works out.
They just threw him in the pen, and all of a sudden he just turned into like, dude, he was throwing absolute bowling balls. And dude, looking at the young the pitching talent they have, dude, it's unbelievable. Dude, Reynaldo Lopez is probably their worst of the young prospect guys they have. They have Dylan Cease. Giolito, I would still considered young for sure. He's probably like 25, 26.
Yeah, he was out of high school for sure.
Yeah.
Tommy John. He got drafted like 13th overall with Tommy John. Yeah. By the Nationals.
They have Michael Kopech, who throws bullets, obviously. They have Garrett.
They have him slated to be a starter this year.
They have Garrett Crochet, who anybody that's played MLB The Show knows that he is unhit. Dude, he's a left-handed fucking Spider-Man who throws 104. I mean, he's like he's 6'6", 230 pounds, and he's left-handed. He throws 103. I mean, it's
kind of reminds me of Chris Sale, like
Chris Sale body, Chris Sale body, but taller and throws harder, and like throws quite the same arm angle, right? A little bit more over the top, but like unhittable. I just don't understand. Yeah, he's literally just unhittable. It doesn't even really make sense.
Tough to hit.
So they have Kimbrel, they have Dallas Keuchel, like you said. You
have Liam Hendricks.
Oh my god, dude.
You have Liam Hendricks. Craig Kimbrel's not even their actual closer. He's
correct.
The 8th inning guy. You're talking about.
Kimbrel might be their 7th inning guy after signing Kendall Graveman. It might go Kimbrel, Graveman, and Liam Hendricks. My God. I mean, my God.
And then you mix in Garrett Crochet, or like this team makes the playoffs or needs to fucking win a game. And the fact that you could have a guy like Lance Lynn give you 5, turn it over to Garrett Crochet
for 1 or 2,
or no, you could go to Kopech even. They have Kopech in as a starter.
Kopech for 2.
Kopech in the 6.
Kopech for 2, and if you go to extras, you could go Crochet, Kimbrel, Graveman, Hendricks, 1 apiece, and then dude, what are we talking about?
You're talking about 3 all-star closers. I mean, you're talking about Kimbrel's a top 5 to not top 3 closer in the history of baseball.
Yeah, basically. And then, dude, looking at their outfield, like you said, let's just put Luis Robert in center field for argument's sake, which I think he is. I mean, he's a center fielder.
Yeah, he's the center fielder. Yeah.
For argument's sake, you go Eloy in left, Luis Robert in center, Andrew Vaughn in right. You go Yerman Mercedes catching, right? Just again, for argument's sake. Moncada at third, Tim Anderson at short. Adam Engel maybe at second, or Larry Garcia, or Danny Mendick. I mean, that second base position isn't the best spot for them, but then they have Jose Abreu at first. Then they have, by the way, Grandal's catching for them, but Zach Collins rakes. Yeah. And that Sebi Zavala guy came up last year out of nowhere and shit on everybody. Everybody. He came up and he finished horrible, really bad, but he came up and hit like 4 home runs in the first week he was in the big leagues. So they're deep. And then I think what's interesting about them is, do they not have any guys in the top 100? Oh, let's see. Show full list. They have to have 1 guy in the top 100. Oh, maybe not. It doesn't look like they have
Yeah, I
one.
mean-
They don't have a single guy in the top 100. Huh? Really interesting.
Doesn't it's not like
But I think the thing
it's
is,
not
all the
like
guys that
overly
were in
surprising
there,
because they
they
probably
called them all
dished a
up.
lot.
Well,
They called them up or they dished
I mean,
them.
I know Madrigal was a top 100 guy. I know Andrew Vaughn was a top 100 guy. All those guys lost their prospect status. So yeah, they're fine. They're fine. White Sox, Jared, they're going to finish first in this division,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
It's not it's not even close.
Yeah, they're going to win the division. Up next, the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians. Interesting team here.
Yeah, pretty really interesting team.
A lot of talent, right? A lot of talent on this team. A lot of young talent, but not quite enough offensively to really make an impact. Like their pitching staff is good, but
yeah, Bobby Bradley, you know, at first base, he kind of had a nice little year last year where like he came up and I remember him coming up clutch for them and having like a nice little I don't know what he finished off at, but let's see. Let's see what Bobby Bradley hit last year as a first baseman. Yeah. So we just talk about him like he had a great year. He hit 208, 16 home runs.
Right.
And it's like
right.
I just happen to watch a game. I don't watch a lot of them, so like you happen to have a good game. Jose Ramirez, perennial MVP candidate. He's their best player, no doubt.
By far.
You got
I like
you got Franmil Reyes.
Yeah, I like
Franmil Reyes. I actually do like.
I like Franmil.
He's a guy that he can get real hot and really carry a team actually. He hit 30 bombs last year. I don't even know how many games he played. Let's see. He only played in 115 games last year.
Yeah. No, he's a good hitter, man. He's really good. I like Franmil. I like Jose Ramirez. And looking at the rest of their team offensively, I mean, Austin Hedges or Brian Lavastida at catcher. I mean, those guys, I don't even know who Brian Lavastida is, but Austin Hedges, from experience as a Padres fan, is maybe the worst hitter in the major leagues. He's horrendously bad. Their infield, Jose Ramirez, Ahmed Rosario, I guess, at shortstop. Like, fuck.
He's not like a really like. He's like a 285 guy, but he doesn't got a whole lot of pop.
But like 8 home runs a year.
Yeah, 8 to 15 maybe.
Like
maybe
Owen
12.
Miller playing somewhere in that infield. The outfield is probably going to be a combination of Bradley Zimmer, Miles Straw, Franmil Reyes, Josh Naylor, Oscar Mercado. I mean, just like none of those guys. Franmil's, like we said, good, but the rest of them just do not jump out at you even a little bit. Like they just
What's kind of crazy is Franmil actually, like looking at like how he only played 115 games, is actually slightly underrated on this team.
Oh, he's definitely underrated.
30 home runs. You have, I mean, think about this. Like Jose Ramirez played 152 games. Franmil only played in 115. So, and he only hit 6 less home runs.
Yeah, so you give Franmil an extra 120 at bats. I mean, he's gonna
the guy might hit 40 home runs.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, Shane Bieber, obviously came off of a Cy Young a couple years ago. Was unhittable. He's a beast. Aaron Savale was kind of
solid.
He was solid, but he's back and forth last year for me a little bit. Yeah, it looks like he was 12-5, the 3.8. Like not bad, but he's not like a bona fide number 2, I guess, for a team that's going to compete. Please, Cal Quantrill, this Tristan McKenzie kid.
Emmanuel Clase, dude. Emmanuel Clase. Oh, you're going through starters right now. Please, Zach. Yeah.
I'm just gonna. Tristan McKenzie on the back end. He's a guy that either gets lit or he strikes out 10 and goes 8 and gives up 1 hit. So it's like, he might have a big year this year though.
Cal Quantrill, Jared, is pretty good. He had a 2.89 ERA last year, 149 innings. Yeah.
Yeah, he did have a good year.
Yeah, he's a first round pick from the Padres. Thanks for coming. Yep.
I watched him pitch a couple times. I think one of the games I watched him pitch, he it was early in the season. I think he might have got absolutely lit up. So I had
if there was a first and second half Cy Young award, he would have gotten the second half Cy Young. He had like a 1.9 ERA second half. Like he just caught on fire.
So it was pretty solid.
I think they actually have one of the better bullpens. Emmanuel Clase, who just throws 102 mile an hour cut fastballs. It just doesn't make sense. James Karinchak is really good. I like James Karinchak a lot.
He's got that ridiculous curveball. He throws like 88 and it moves. It kind of reminds me of, I don't even know who's just like that. It kind of reminds me. I'm trying to think of who.
it's like Kershaw's, but like 88. like it's
It's really hard with a ton of it almost looks impossible. to
super
hit.
tight. Yeah.
And then he throws like 97 to 98. So
Yeah. So this team, I mean, they're solid, man. But looking at the top 100, the Guardians have 5 guys in the top 100, which is pretty good, right? But 4 of those top 5 guys have all been in the major leagues at some point. So they're all like Tyler Freeman, George Valera, Nolan Jones, Gabriel Arias. All 4 of those guys, they're all young, but they've all been in the major leagues at some point. So it's not like they have a lot to bank on. They're kind of in that weird limbo position where they have a lot of young talent, but they don't have much looking forward. And they don't also seem like they're going to be competing. It's just a kind of a weird spot for them. But I mean, I don't know.
I'm just thinking kind of like this is maybe just because some of the I don't know who I trust the most in this, because it's like some of these like some of these shitty teams like we talked about might be slightly better this year. But the Guardians, just off that, the way that they performed last year, probably gonna go ahead and say maybe third, maybe second. Actually, it's such a kind of a shit league. So
the division's bad.
but I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take them in third.
It's a good pick. No, I like him in third.
I like him in third because we'll talk about some of these other teams. I just think that
we'll talk about
they
them.
don't do it enough. They don't do it enough for me right now.
They're third. They're third place. It's fine. They're a third place team. It is what it is. Moving on in the American League Central, we'll go through these teams a little bit quicker, but
Just a little bit quicker, yeah.
Yeah, Kansas City, similar to the Indians, or excuse me, the Guardians. Similar to the Guardians, a lot of young talent with a handful of established veterans, but just not quite enough to really do a whole lot. And especially if you're a team that's looking to make an impact. And I think that's why the Indians found themselves having the success, if you could even call the 80 and 82 season they had last year a success. But the Royals, looking at their depth chart, I mean, their ace, Brady Singer,
they can hit. Yeah, they can hit a little bit. They can hit, definitely. I mean, Brady Singer was 5-10 with a 5 ERA last year.
Right. They can hit.
My favorite guy that can pitch for them at all is this Josh Staumont guy. You ever seen him?
Josh Staumont, Staumont or whatever.
Staumont,
yeah, 102, just over the top. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just easy. It makes it look easy. I do like some of their hitters. Whit Merrifield's pure.
Salvy's obviously.
Salvy's obviously ridiculous.
Whit Merrifield, super pure.
Pure hitter. Looks like you have Mondesi kind of like not even starting for them this year, but he's gonna play.
He's gonna.
That guy can hit a little bit. He's fast.
Yeah, Benintendi, solid.
Bobby Witt Jr. I see that they have him kind of slated in, but he was in the minor leagues last year. Don't know if he made it up. Nicky Lopez is actually was a pretty decent hitter last year. I think he hit like 300. He played 151 games and hit 300. So
Kansas City,
solid.
Yeah,
not great.
Yeah, they also have Hunter Dozier, who I like. Hunter Dozier, I think he's a pretty solid hitter too. Benintendi, like you said, Mondesi, Merrifield, Carlos Santana. Again, like older guy,
solid guy.
Yeah, just gets on base. I guess like he'll pop 20 a year. Just kind of whatever. But yeah, I mean, Kansas City's. Did you wig out over there, or what happened? Did you lose me? Oh, I think his mic. Oh, there you go. Now I can hear you.
Headphones just disconnected randomly.
Oh, gotcha.
But Benintendi's like, yeah, just solid, but like he's not superstar level. But like still really good. Like still a really solid player. But this team, I just think what really kills them is that they actually played some good baseball last year when I watched them. They had like a lot of fight and like they'd come back into these games.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking that just their pitching is going to be their downfall this year, and for that reason, I'm picking them to.
I'll go fourth.
Probably
fourth.
Yeah, probably probably finish fourth in this league.
Yeah, they're definitely a fourth place team.
And it's going to be close. I think it's going to be close.
Fourth or
The
fifth.
next team that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is Detroit. They signed Eduardo Rodriguez. These guys have some good young pitching with Casey Mize. The Scooble guy is pretty good. Matt Manning is.
Wait, we have.
I don't know.
Well, no, we got Minnesota. Or wait. Well, we actually skipped. We skipped Detroit. Well, let's just go with Minnesota because I want to talk about the Tigers last because I kind of like that team. So let's go with Minnesota quickly because they're fucking trash. No offense, Twins fans or Minnesota. It's nothing personal. You guys just aren't good. I mean, looking at your starting rotation, Jared. Oh my god, like Kenta Maeda is probably going to be their best guy, and then after that, it's a combination of Dylan Bundy.
Some of these guys were they had decent games last year that I watched, but like I just nothing that pops off the charts that consistent. The Bailey Ober guy's like 6'10", and I watched him have some good starts. Bundy, who knows what the hell he's gonna do? He had such a horrible year last year, but then he was like a Cy Young candidate the year before. So I just don't know with this guy. He looks like he got like too big, but looks like half their rotation is like
just young guys.
Half their rotation is like a 7 ERA guys.
Yeah.
So that's very troublesome. But they can swing it a little bit. They don't have they just don't have a great fucking bullpen either. But you got to look at the guys like you got Sano, Mitch Garver, Donaldson, Polanco, Buxton, Kepler, and that Brent Rooker guy did he go to Mississippi State? He was just an absolute freak there.
They also have, just to touch on prospects, they have Royce Lewis, who was the #1 overall pick a couple years ago, 35th overall prospect, and they have Austin Martin, who's a shortstop outfielder, really quick. He's the 36th overall prospect. So they have 3 guys in the top 100. Their pitching is so bad, combined with they play in a bigger ballpark. I like a lot of their hitters. I liked past tense Mitch Garver, but I did not like him last year because he didn't play. He only had 13 home runs. He had 256. He slugs pretty well. You obviously have, like you said, Miguel Sano, respectable. Jorge Polanco, very respectable. Donaldson, very respectable, but old as fuck, dude. Like, old as fuck. Nick Gordon, solid. Kirilloff was a prospect for him for a long time. He's okay. Buxton is obviously very good. And then Kepler, Larnick, like it's just a kind of a jumble of like to make a comparison in MLB The Show, it's a big jumble of like silver caliber guys, you know, like there's not one guy in here where I'm like, oh, he's a gold or he's a diamond, except for Buxton and maybe Kenta Maeda, put him as a gold rated player. But the rest of their team, I guess Taylor Rogers is pretty solid in the bullpen. But then after that, it's just a bunch of silvers and bronze caliber players, just very middle of the pack, not great, not horrible, but just not anywhere near where a team would need to be to actually compete in a division like this. So, Jared, 5th place for these guys? Is that where you're going to put them? Because it's either 5th or 2nd.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess if that's the case, I'm gonna have to slide probably Cleveland up to number 2. I think these guys still have like a better chance than the Royals to be good for some reason, just because I don't know actually. I don't know.
I think these two teams will be battling for last place.
Yeah, I can see Royals are going 4th and 5th, and I think that makes more sense. I think it's gonna be between 4th and 5th between Minnesota and Kansas City. I'm gonna slide Cleveland up into 2nd, just after kind of reviewing the teams a little bit, and then that will bring us to kind of our last team, which I think is like we said it's very interesting,
dude. Okay, just to quickly touch on it, I really like the Tigers. Like, I think they have like a kind of a good team. You know, you have the like ultimate veteran leadership in obviously Miguel Cabrera, he's 30, he's going to be 39 years old this year. So older guy, obviously has a ton of experience. He's seen it all, done it all. And that's really important because it translates to the guys that they do have, the younger guys, in guys like Willie Castro, Heimer Candelario, Harold Castro, Akil Baddoo, Eric Haas. Like these guys are young. They're projectable to be pretty solid. And
like Jonathan Scope. I actually like the
And
middle
then
infield too. I mean,
yeah,
I don't love Javi Baez as much as I like. I don't know. I mean, once again, it's like Javi Baez gets shit on, but you know why? It's because he swings out of his ass.
yes,
And he's up there with intent, and it says, and he's saying, I might strike out fucking 207 times this year. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I'm gonna strike out. I'm gonna have 5 at bats today. I'm gonna strike out twice, and I'm gonna strike out embarrassingly. But
swinging hard.
I also might hit a dinghy, like at least, you know what I mean? He hit 31 home runs, hit 265 at 87 RBIs. 265 was actually getting more and more respectable in the MLB because it doesn't seem like guys really bat in the 300s nearly as often.
There's
So,
also
it's actually
Jared. I
kind of
also
a surprise.
think the one thing that's underrated about this team is AJ Hinch as their manager. I mean, AJ Hinch won a World Series with the Houston Astros. Okay, they fucking cheated. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
You can get sawed in half on here for that.
Listen. I think AJ Hinch is a good manager. I do, and I also think, Jared, I think he is best friends with Carlos Correa, who just so happens to be a free agent. And you know which team AJ Hinch manages for? The Detroit Tigers. And you know which team is looking to make an impact and start their trending upwards in that division and hopefully competing, trying to win more than 85 games? Detroit Tigers. You know who has a little bit extra scratch because they're not paying anybody besides Javi Baez? Detroit Tigers. I'm just saying, dude. That's why we talked about earlier. I think it's hard.
Jonathan Scoop. You know, Jonathan
Scope.
Or Shoot?
It's Scope.
Scope. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always just read it. I'm always like,
it's
guess.
Scope. Honestly, like it's like a scope on a gun. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, they have him slated at first base on their depth chart, which is very interesting when you consider Willie Castro as like the guy that have slated on their second baseman. So Willie Castro, obviously 229 home runs. No, he's not. I mean, like we said, he's obviously probably got some potential.
Yeah, Scope has just been the guy in his career that started as the young, spunky, base stealing second baseman with good contact and occasional power, and he's slowly transitioned to that fucking meat wagon, thigh heavy, kind of like 3 outcome guy who can't really run, which is why he started as a second baseman and has now transitioned his way over to first base.
He is definitely thickened up. He's thickened up quick.
Yeah,
it wasn't that long ago. I think he's 30 years old. It wasn't that long ago where he was like.
I guess he never was quite the base stealer, but I feel like on the Orioles he was like really good. I thought he was like
he was just he was a middle infielder.
Yeah, I guess he was never that good.
He just doesn't. He just, you know, he came up at MLB The Show and people loved him.
Yeah,
he always had a good card. But anyway, they got potential. If they sign a guy like Carlos Correa, then they have a really good middle infield.
Dude, and then I'm sorry, but also looking at their pitching staff, dude, like Casey Mize is really good. Eduardo Rodriguez is a solid number 2. Spencer Turnbull's young. Tal Alexander, Tarek Skubal, all those 3 guys are young, but they're all very good and projectable. And then their bullpen is like also really good. Gregory Soto is really good. Fulmer is solid. Cisnero is good. Joe Jimenez is a solid bullpen piece. And the Tigers have 2 guys in the top 10, Jared, in the prospects, in the top 100. 2 guys in the top 10. Spencer Torkelson, first overall pick, and Riley Green.
That's a big first baseman out of ASU.
First base and third base, but yeah, first base. And also, Jared, if you think that there's some problems in the outfield or they don't have, quite the depth or anything like that, they have Riley Green, Jared, who was up to AAA last year. Why don't I read you Riley Green's fucking stats? Last year, Jared, on 2 teams, Riley Green had a 387 on base. He had 534 slugging. He had 25 doubles, 24 home runs, and a 301 batting average in double and AAA last year. He hit 301 with 24 home runs in double and AAA. And he's an outfielder. So you're looking at the Tigers outfield and you're like, well, I don't know. Akil Baddoo, Robbie Grossman, Victor Reyes, like these guys are okay, but Daz Cameron is officially no longer a prospect. He's still a baby. And Daz Cameron's, obviously the son of Mike Cameron. He's really good. Dude, Spencer Torkelson could come up and play first base for him at any point, or third base. Riley Green can come up and play. Both of those guys are going to be in the big leagues this year, 100%. Torkelson and Riley Green. They're both AAA guys. Yeah. They're both beasts. They're both in the top 10. Dude, I like the fucking Tigers. And God forbid, like we said, they get Carlos Correa. Watch out for the Tigers. They might be that team that slugs their way to a second wild card spot. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe I'm not. Maybe, maybe that's too much. But maybe they do.
We'll see. We'll just see. Well, yeah, I guess it really just depends on, like you said, like, like if they decide Correa, if this young pitching staff just takes that next step forward, I mean, I think they're definitely going to be a surprise. And I think they're going to be right up there.
I have them second place in this division.
I have them at third, just because I believe in the pitching staff a little bit more. Because you have Shane. Really, it's Shane
Cleveland.
Bieber.
For Cleveland,
yeah. Shane Bieber in that bullpen.
No, I like it's a little not a bad pick.
I do like Soto, but you have the Emmanuel Clase and you have Hranchek. I know those guys aren't going to make everything, but they have some young guys too, like you said, Quantrill and McKenzie. Yeah, it's like it's going to be 1, 2, 3 for sure. White Sox win the division hands down, no problem.
I think it'll go White Sox win the division. And I think the Tigers and the Indians will be battling for second and third. And then I think there's going to be a gap, and the Royals and Twins will be battling for fourth and fifth.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a gap between first, second, third, and then fourth, fifth. There'll be 3 spots, and there'll be gaps in all those spots. So.
Both Twins and Royals, they have pieces. Anytime any major league team that you look at, you'll see the name that pops out to you. But then, they just can't fucking pitch.
Yep,
they just really can't. That's really what it comes down to. Is like, I believe in the pit. Obviously, we talked about the White Sox first, which the recency bias, if you're listening, is you probably already forgot about how good they are. But like, they have 5 guys that might be the starting closer on every other team.
Yeah.
On this division.
Yep.
You have 5 guys. You could go back to the White Sox. You could take Graveman, Hendricks, Kimbrel, Garrett Crochet, and then if say Michael Kopech is out of the bullpen again for whatever reason, any of those guys would probably be the closer on any of these other teams.
Yep.
So Detroit's got a very, very interesting team. I'm just gonna go with Cleveland for number 2 right now, but we'll see. It'll be exciting, and like you said, there's gonna be that gap, and I think the Twins and the Royals kind of they probably play the annoying, antagonizing team on the back end that wins the game, and you're like.
Yeah, I'm just rooting for the Tigers too, man, because one thing that in recent baseball history that people have kind of forgotten about, and the Tigers absolutely just blew the opportunity that they had. But people don't really talk about, like, if I was a Tigers fan and I went through a half decade where I had Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, certain stints, David Price, Jordan Zimmerman, Miguel Cabrera, Prince Fielder, Victor Martinez, I am reading off like potentially 5, 6, 7 Hall of Famers. And they had all of those guys on the same team for like a 3 or 4 year window, and they didn't even make it to the World Series. So my point is, I feel bad for the Tigers. I feel like they've earned this, and they've kind of done it the right way. They've been dog shit for 3 or 4 years. Last year, they were a tiny bit better. They got the young talent. They drafted really well with Torkelson and Riley Green. They signed your Javi Baez guy. Maybe they compete this year. Probably not with the White Sox, but if they sign Carlos Correa, what I would do if I was the Tigers, I would go after Correa hard. And if I got him, I would also go after a big starting pitcher. And I would go after him for like a 1 or 2 year deal just to see if we could fuck around and maybe get sneak into the postseason. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I like that. I like that too. And like you said, they should have some money. So
Yeah.
Since nobody on the team's paid. So
Yeah. So that's gonna wrap it up. Final predictions. I went White Sox, Tigers, Indians, Royals, Twins. Jared, you went White Sox,
White Sox, Guardians,
Tigers.
Probably. I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna flip flop. I'm gonna go Twins, Royals, just for the sake of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Minnesota can hit the long ball still.
All right, fair enough.
That's how I'm set. But yeah, and that's it. And yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Talk about basketball,
yeah.
other than the fact that it's fucking rigged and shitty.
Yeah, no, it's rigged and shitty. The one thing I'll say, I mean, it's February 28th, so March Madness, obviously, like this, or it's Monday today. This upcoming week of games, Monday through Sunday or whatever, it's the last week of regular season college basketball, and then it goes into conference tournaments, and then it goes into the NCAA tournament, which is super cool. So exciting for that.
You want to know? Yeah, that is exciting. I want to know
college hoops more than the NBA, but that's just me.
Let me tell you the one thing I currently hating about the NBA the most. Let me finish.
What you're hating about this up. Yeah, so Jared's a big NBA betting guy, understandably, because
I like betting the NBA. I really like a lot of player props.
Props.
I like props over actual game outcomes, and I'll tell you why. But I'll tell you how they interact with each other.
Yeah, because one thing I'll say too, Jared, is he likes his props, but it's hard because these fucking players are just. They're soft. I'm sorry. They're fucking soft. I mean, these guys. Well, yeah, go ahead. You go ahead on your predictions.
So here, I want to tell you.
Thoughts.
Let's see what this comes out to. Let me tell you what the average. Here's the issue with betting in the NBA: foul trouble. Awful. You saw Chris Paul get booted out of that game for doing nothing. Basically,
guys get ejected.
You play a couple prop bets, and you place a couple prop bets. The guy gets in foul trouble. Your bet's smoked, and you're just sitting there. You can't even watch can't even watch the bet anymore. It doesn't come back in. Also, blowouts are fucking horrendous in the NBA.
They happen all the fucking time.
Dude, the margin of victory is ridiculous. And what happens when the margin of victory is really big? They pull starters, so prop bets are fucked. Also, unless you're picking obviously the right side of whatever spread it is, but the thing is, it's not always the chalk that's covering. Like today, Pacers Magic. Pacers won by Magic won by 16. So it's like you get blowouts. You just constantly get blowouts, and it's dog shit to bet on. You're never gonna get a spread. There's no value on money lines in the NBA ever. It's like minus 560 for the Bucks if you want to bet the Bucks tonight.
Yeah.
So I have to bet $560. And now if I want to fuck around and bet props, any star player is going to be through the roof. Like DeMar DeRozan tonight obviously he's on a ridiculous streak, but his over-under is 29.5.
Yep.
Very easy for a guy to not be able to do that too, So like that's not always that fun. And here's the average margin of victory tonight is 18 points.
Yeah.
And it's like that makes it really tough. Makes it really tough to bet.
And here's my thing too, Jared. Like because I'm a very casual NBA fan, but I thought the Nets, I think the Nets as a team this year are a microcosm of why the NBA fucking sucks. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm a casual fan, but I knew that coming into this year, the Nets were lined up to be this ridiculous juggernaut monster team with Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. Then Kyrie can't play because he's not vaccinated and there's this rules, but he can play in other cities, but not in Brooklyn. So it's like he's not playing as much. And then Harden's playing with Durant and they're not really doing that well. Then Durant gets hurt, so he's not playing. Then Harden's like, all right, I want out of here. And then he gets traded. And the Nets go from superstar juggernaut first place team to borderline playoff team in like 3 weeks. Like 18 days. They go from literally first in the Eastern Conference to 8th. That is absurd. And it's nothing more than a lot of the problems they have is injuries. I feel like the NBA, correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, I feel like the NBA has more bullshit lingering injuries on the most minor body parts than any other league in existence. Like Anthony Davis has just not been playing, and like I don't know, he'll just go for a layup and come down and just like kind of slide, and then he kind of limps to the bench, and it's like breaking news: Anthony Davis out 8 to 10 weeks, left knee, left MCL sprain. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah,
like how?
Yeah,
like Kevin Durant. I don't know is like these injuries, but and then he like Ben Simmons. Here's a great example. Like Ben Simmons is the microcosm of why I hate the NBA. First of all, he's not hurt. I mean, I guess he is, but he wasn't hurt to start the season on Philly, and he's like, I don't like it here. I don't want to play here. It's like, what? Like, just play. I don't understand. Like these guys are just the egos and
they're you want to talk about like a diva ass group.
Oh my God, man.
The worst. NBA's the worst one because these guys get paid.
They get paid, and they're so egotistical, dude. And then you got again a guy that's like LeBron, who's a great player. He goes to the LA goes to the Lakers this year, loads up with Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, and so on and so on.
Well, he's been with the Lakers.
No, I know that, but this year they add Russell Westbrook, and there's supposed to be another 3-headed juggernaut monster. Doesn't pan out. Anthony Davis gets hurt. Russell Westbrook apparently can't play as well with bigger stars as they thought. He can't shoot.
He's just broken.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you see a video last night or 2 nights ago where like the Lakers are playing at home against. My point is they played the Pelicans like 2 nights ago and they lost it by 27 points to the New Orleans Pelicans. Where if you looked at that game on the schedule and before the season started, you'd be like, Lakers win by 25 points. They lose by 27, and there's videos coming out of players on the bench, LeBron on the court while the game's happening, just chirping with fans in the first 3 rows, just chirping them. And I know they're really close to the fans, and there's proximity, and the fans probably said some profanity or some, I don't even know. It could have been some racial remarks. I have no idea. I have no clue. But the point is, I feel like things in the NBA are so volatile and also so inconsistent and unpredictable. Maybe that's why some people like it. Maybe that's why some people don't. But I find it easier to root for a team like the Nuggets or a team like the Cavaliers or a team that, just like no drama. But there's so much just drama, like Real Housewives drama in the NBA. Not like, oh man, like, this manager pulled me out of the game too early, like as a pitcher, no, it's like rumors are James Harden fucking hates Brooklyn and everybody on the team. It's like, what? Wasn't he just like gelling really well with everybody and putting up triple doubles like a month ago? Like, it's just so. Rumors are James Harden wants out of Brooklyn immediately. It's like, what? Yeah, how do you even how is that allowed? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that team was fucking weird. I didn't like that team. I really didn't like that team all that much. They just put all that stuff. It's really hard for 3 guys to be like to just
win you a championship. Yeah,
just to really be able to play together with all those egos. It's like, well, in theory, on paper, it works, but it doesn't work really that often. But the team that I love, the Bucks. The Bucks play hard as fuck. Giannis is obviously
Giannis, and I feel like
he's a really hard worker as a superstar. He's an effort guy. He's not like, he's gonna try harder. He's gonna run the floor.
And that's why I don't mean to shit on.
People call him not athletic, which is so stupid.
I don't mean to shit on the NBA.
He's literally one of the best athletes in the world.
Yeah, I don't mean to shit on the entire NBA because guys like Giannis are exceptional stand-up guys, super hard workers, champions in the NBA. His whole family's in the NBA. They came from nothing. Like that guy's awesome. I love Giannis. I think Giannis is a dude. DeMar DeRozan, same thing. Humble guy, really quiet, bounced around a little bit in the league, ends up in Chicago, tearing it up. Love that kind of stuff. Love those stories. Nikola Jokic comes from fucking Serbia. He's built like a giant baby, but he has eyes in the back of his head, and the Nuggets are winning games with a pretty kind of a makeshift roster without Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. So it's like there's stuff to like about the NBA. It's just, we said we wouldn't end up talking about it, and we did, and it's easy to bitch about it, but the playoffs are fun, I guess. It's just, I don't know. It's, again, if you go back to the beginning of the season and you're like, hey, guess what? Would you believe me if I told you on February 28th that the Nets and the Lakers would be an 8th seed? They would be 8 seeds, respectively, in the Eastern and Western Conference. You would say, get the fuck out of my face. And maybe that's why the NBA is cool and entertaining. But for the most part, the reason why those teams are there is because of off-the-court bullshit drama, and not because, yes, they've played poorly, but it's all compounding and snowballs, and they don't play well for 3 or 4 games, and all of a sudden, should LeBron James retire? It's like, no. He put up 18, 12, and 14 and had 3 bad shooting nights, and they're like, is this Russell Westbrook trade ever going to end up panning out? It's like the Lakers are in like the 4 seed, like just because they're not. So I don't know. I don't love the NBA for that reason, but then again, I could be completely dead ass wrong. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's
That's why it was cool to see Giannis win it last year. It was cool. It's cool to see it. He deserved it.
I also hate fouls. That's the last thing I'm gonna say.
Oh my God. And that's why it's, dude,
their fouls are completely and totally just biased. One, because they want stat lines. They want players to get their stats. They want their numbers. I watched the Knicks.
Wasn't it the were you going to talk about the Sixers game?
There's the Knicks Sixers. There was 85 free throws.
Yeah, Harden and Embiid by themselves shot like 48 free throws or something. Like, I mean, it was,
yeah, and if you went and watched it, there was like, they were like, Knicks guys were doing like this is fucking ridiculous. Like they'd go up like this, and they're like, there'd be no touch, no one would be a touch, and like fucking they would shoot the ball, and it was like I was like that's a bad product, and that's also how to control a game right in plain sight.
Yep, 100%. I agree.
You want to spread? You want a total? Start calling fouls every time someone misses a shot.
Yep.
You want a total to go under because the sportsbook has something on it.
No fouls.
Or tell you to. No fouls on a missed shot. Let them play aggressively. Yep. It's gonna be like the fucking 90s. The game will be 91 to fucking 87.
Yep.
But you want the game to be 121 to 131 because everyone's got on the under, and you put the under at 227.
Yeah, I'm actually curious. What game was that? Saturday when those two teams played?
Sunday. That was yesterday. Knicks.
Yeah. Here's the box score for this game. Joel Embiid attempted 27 free throws.
He scored 23 points on free throws. He scored 23 points on free throws.
He shot 27 free throws, Jared. The entire Knicks team shot 35 free throws. Joel Embiid by himself shot 27. And the 76ers shot 44 free throws. 44 free throws. 44 free throws. And the Knicks shot 35 free throws. That is 79 free throws in a game. 79 free throws. That is a bad product. I don't care what you say. That is a bad product.
Is going ultra.
That's horrible.
It's a really bad product.
That's like what's to say that the average quarter ends at? How many field goals were taken?
Field goals total 78.
There's 85.
85 from the Knicks, and 78 from the Sixers.
So you're literally,
it's half the shots. It's half the shots, pretty much.
Well, yeah, you're calling a foul like every because you got to think there's 2 free throws per single attempt. So you're calling a foul on every fifth shot, basically every fourth shot, every fifth shot, somewhere in that range. That's terrible. Yeah, it kills the pace. It's a bad product, but it's fun. It's kind of fun to bet because there's nothing else on. So
yeah. Oh.
But anyway, All right, well, let's wrap it up. We've been on for fucking 2 hours. You know, we said we were gonna do
Hour and
30
a
minutes
half.
or
Yeah,
whatever,
hour and a half podcast. But hey, we got baseball to talk here. Quick last update. Not that you guys are going to hear this or anything, but the 7th meeting between the MLB and MLBPA started 26 minutes ago and ended 20 minutes ago. So there was a quick 6-minute meeting between them. The significant, per multiple sources, last report, Jared, is that the major topic right now and the major holdup is not the luxury tax. It is the expanded postseason. The players want 12 teams. The owners want 14. And this is apparently just like a huge haggling point. So I don't really know, but whatever.
Money, I guess. Yeah.
Also, I just hate having the NBA tabs open. I mean, excuse me, the ESPN tabs. Hate it, Jared. Because the ESPN goes, oh, you don't have a tab open? Why don't we just start playing a video with full sound? How's that going to work for you?
Yeah,
Like,
let's just blast. Can we just blast an ad in your ear?
like, I'm
Dude,
like, dude.
hey, like Disney, you guys can fuck off. Like, you guys own ESPN. You guys charge out the ass for every single thing you do. Like, I get it. That's why you're a huge fucking corporation. But like,
Yeah.
like they say that when you go to pay like a cable bill, like ESPN is what you're paying for. Anything that's Disney is what you're paying for mostly.
Yep.
Right, and it's like fuck off. Like, why are you just full blasting ads as well?
Yeah.
Just sneak in a couple extra pennies because you're the corporate devil. just roasting ESPN.
Start freaking out.
Even though
No,
that
but
they've
they should.
provided-
They can't have these ads just running in the back. I mean, it's absurd. You can't just have these ads just automatically run while I have shit open. Like, you just can't do it.
Also, you're a fucking $1 trillion company, or
Just
however
figure
much
it
they're
out.
worth.
Yeah.
Hire some fucking software engineers to make your apps. Have you ever used the Disney Plus app or the ESPN
it's
app?
horrible.
It's glitchy and it's garbage. You were literally one of the top entertainment sources in the fucking entire country.
Yeah.
And your shit glitches and the videos don't play back and it's hard to fucking navigate.
And two Sundays a year, your ESPN fantasy app just goes down at noon on a Sunday, twice a year. I'm like, yeah, no, whatever. We're done. We're fucking done. We're all pissed off. Baseball's not. We're just bitching now. But hey, by the time we record, Jared, there might be a deal. So that's cool.
All right.
But anyways,
We'll see.
Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check us out on our social media channels. Phenomenal Fan Podcast. We usually go by @Phenom Fan. PHENOM PHAN. Phenom Fan. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate the support. Be sure to share it with everybody you know. We would greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, hopefully we have some baseball here in the next few days. That would be huge. So get a deal done. We'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Thanks for listening. Always bet the over. And thanks for listening to the 11th episode of the Phenomenal Fan Podcast. Jared, we'll catch you next time.
All right, later.